Hi, and welcome once again to HRS 5200, Assistive Technology for Seating and Mobility. I'm Carmen DeGiovane. Decided once again to change it up a little bit, and I'm coming to you from good old 406 Atwell Hall. This week we'll be talking about both Module 9, Power Mobility Overview, and Module 10, Power Mobility Alternative Access Methods. But first I want to just say, hey, I hope everybody had a great spring break. I know not all of you can take time off, but I hope you found some time to just relax and take care of yourself. I had the opportunity to go to Ohiopyle, Pennsylvania. So for those of you that are familiar with the Youghiogheny River, I'm sure you can appreciate how much fun I had hanging out in good old Ohiopyle, Pennsylvania. I want to just start once again by talking a little bit about metacognition and Bloom's taxonomy. Let you know that I added Bloom taxonomy's domains to the objectives. So I've been updating the objectives, the learning objectives for each module, and I've added the domain that each objective falls within. So hopefully that helps you better appreciate how I'm developing the course and what I think you should learn, study, and then learn in the course. The other thing I wanted to point out was I think I talked last time about the study cycle, so that you should know about the study cycle. But the other thing I wanted to point out was this idea of motivation. It was something that I learned about in how to teach students, or teach students how to learn. I forgot the title of the book. Teach students how to learn. One of the things that Sandra Yancey McGuire talks about is motivation, and how increased motivation leads to increased learning, which leads to increased success, which leads to positive emotions, which then further leads to increased motivations. I feel like we all need to focus a little bit on motivation. I do that in my professional role, and I feel like this cycle applies to my professional role, but I hope that through the modules, through the videos, and maybe through the activities out in the community, if you're participating in activities in the community, focusing on technology for people with disabilities, that you're getting motivated, and that motivation helps you in your learning process. Now I want to start by talking about Module 9, Power Mobility Overview. There was a lot going on there. In Module 9, we focused on power mobility devices, talked a little bit about the difference between scooters and power wheelchairs. I provided some information in the module, so I updated the overview page so that it includes a crosswalk, a table that crosswalks between the terminology that's used in the book and the terminology that's typically used by CMS, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services here in the United States. So for those of you that are working professionally and need to understand those codes, I provided some crosswalks. They're very general crosswalks that talk about the groupings of the power wheelchairs and the power operated vehicles, which is what the CMS calls scooters. So it doesn't have a whole lot of detail, but I did provide links that provide that detail if you want to learn more. I also included links to videos in Module 9 from Steve, Kelly, and Sue. I recommend watching the first 3 to 5 minutes of each video. You don't have to watch the whole video, just to get reacquainted to these 3 individuals who use power wheelchairs. I think that really will help you in taking the information from the textbook and take the information from the module and applying it in the real world, in real world applications, and make it easier to understand what is going on and to learn the material in such a way that you'll be able to use it again in your professional careers. I also included a video with Janet Gregory. It was a video that was done by the Columbus Dispatch. I recommend taking a look at it and seeing how the HAP model plays out in Janet's life. She talks a little bit about her technology, she talks a little bit about the activities, the settings that she's in, and she starts off by talking a little bit about herself and the accident that led to a spinal cord injury. So take a look at that, and once again, that just helps you better apply what you're learning in this class, because that's really what we're getting at, is applying the information, being able to apply the information that you get in this class. Once again, if you have a chance, I recommend going out and checking out power wheelchairs and scooters in the community. If you have a chance to do that, go to a wheelchair supplier, wheelchair manufacturer, or to a wheelchair clinic. Those are great places to go and observe and try out the different technology. For Module 9, the reading assignment was Module 10, Power Mobility Applications. It provided a nice overview, and we had a couple of assignments for there. In Module 10, so switching to Module 10, we continue our voyage into the area of power mobility, and we're specifically focusing on alternate access methods. One of the things that I wanted to point out is alternate access methods typically only apply to Group 3, Group 4, and Group 5 power wheelchairs. So these are wheelchairs that are designed for indoor-outdoor use, or pediatric use. They're typically not the low-end consumer models that are just designed for indoor use. One of the things that I want to point out is that the author of the chapter, who happens to also be the editor of the book, Michelle Lang, does a fantastic job of including case studies, case examples in the chapter, and how you can apply alternate access methods. So I highly recommend taking a look at those. And also, I highly recommend just going back to HRS 5100 and taking a look at chapters 1 and 3 in Cook and Polgar to think about that human control interface and what that looks like. Because a lot of the technologies that we use to support alternate access and power mobility are also the same technologies that we use in other areas, such as computer access or access to augmented and alternative communication devices. The last thing I want to point out is just as you're reading through the materials, consider how a person could use a single control device to control multiple assistive technology devices, and the impact of if that control device goes down, how it can affect how that person accesses a number of devices. The assignments for this module are a video case study discussion. So that's our fourth discussion. I want you to focus on seating mobility. That is what we're talking about, and I'll introduce Ian. And then for the grad discussion, for the grad students, you have a video case study moderation for some of you, and then you're gonna start case report number 2. So you're gonna do part 1 of case report number 2. Once again, focusing on seating and mobility. Last thing I want to wrap up with is just the cool stuff in assistive technology, and I actually have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. Of course, we recently concluded the Paralympics, so there's a lot of great material about the Paralympics, both on the Paralympic website and on NBC Olympics. They have a lot of great coverage that I recommend checking out. RESNA announced that its conference for this summer is a virtual conference, and registration is open, so if you're interested, check that out. The International Seating Symposium just announced their dates for 2023. That will be April 13 through April 15, 2023. So keep an eye out for that. And then one of the things I talked about in a different course is e-gaming. So I talk about e-gaming in the Assistive Technology for Sports and Recreation course. That's HRS 5450. There's a video that I asked people to watch in that course called How Accessible Were 2021's Games by Mark Brown from the Game Maker's Toolkit. It's really a good video. It's about, I think it's 16 or 18 minutes, but it's basically a review of the accessibility features built into video games. And so it's just a cool video to watch. I found it very interesting, so I thought I'd include it in the show notes for the course so that you could take a look at it. I recommend taking a look at it. And then a couple last things. I'm hearing about paid summer internships. Sometimes I get these emails, so I've included links or email contact information for paid summer internships. One is at Cleveland State University. It's the rehabilitation engineering. It's a rehabilitation engineering internship for both engineers and non-engineers, and that's up at Cleveland State University. So I've included the link in the show notes. And then the other thing is the Human Engineering Research Lab at the University of Pittsburgh also has a summer internship. They have multiple positions open for undergraduate and graduate students, and also they have current positions that are open for U.S. military veterans, National Guard, Reserve, or ROTC cadets to work at Hurl. So if you're interested, please contact josh.marino@pitt.edu. And I've included Josh's email address in the notes. In closing, please keep using the skills that you're learning about in terms of metacognition, Bloom's taxonomy, the study cycle. Use the LSU Center for Academic Success Services and motivation. Keep using the strategies that you've learned about to support your learning, because I want you to be successful. Also want to say thanks for completing the anonymous survey in module 8 or 9, module 9. I really appreciate that. And then I want to give a shout out to Hannah and Kayla for stopping by the AT Center on March 10th. We had that overview session and a chance to use some of the assistive technology at the AT Center. It was a lot of fun. We planned on being there for 45 minutes, ended up being there for 2 hours. It was great. And the fun part was Dawn Hamlin from Mobius was there with the Ibot, so we had a chance to use the Ibot. And then we also had a chance to talk to Christy Perko, who's an occupational therapist, and Liz Gown, who's a rehabilitation engineer. So it was a great evening or afternoon. So I appreciate you coming out, and we'll be doing it again, hopefully in the summer. As always, reach out to me if you have any questions or comments. You can reach out to me via Carmen Canvas Mail. I respond the fastest that way. Or schedule a meeting with me. My schedule is on the, I have availability that's available, my times are available on Carmen Canvas calendar, or you can just reach out to me directly if those times don't work for you. So have a great week, and I'll be talking to you soon.